out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuning in Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man, Kill. I got my squad with me in effect as always. Sis first. What's going on, P?
Not a whole lot, Kill. Good to be here. Love the show topic. Can't wait.
No doubt. My brother from Morgan, Jersey right here. Good news. What's going on, fam? How you, man?
Peace. What's good, everybody? What's up, Kill?
Oh, man, just always dope to have you on, bro. I love linking with my peoples. You know what I mean? From Morgan, man. It's a certain love that's there, man, and I love it, man. I love it. So thank you for making the time. My brother Vern out of ATL. What's going on, good brother?
Man, glad to be here. Chop it up with my peoples.
All right, you already know me. Let's jump right into it. Tonight we're doing one of our salute shows to a specific year. We started this with 88. The reason we wanted to do these shows was just, for a younger generation. A lot of young boys be like shitting on the 80s. They be like, yo, OG, your rappers from the 80s was whack. And I'm like, bro, you're bugging. You know what I mean? So we wanted to do these shows to kind of help, be the GPS system of, because a lot of old heads, we want to say things to the kids like, yo, just go do your homework. But that's it. We don't give them no study guide. We don't give them nowhere to start. So with these shows, we wanted to give them some place to start, everything like that. So we've done 88, 90, 89, 90, and we are now at 1991. So we're going to be talking about our top 5 albums from 91. We're going to be looking at slept on albums. Who was the dopest MC in 1991? Who was the dopest producer in 1991? And what was the whole vibe of the culture? What was the hip hop culture looking like and feeling like? Because what I also want to be able to show people is the ebbs and flows of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? What was the new style? Was the Iggy style here? Yeah, it was niggas dressed in, jerseys. Was niggas rocking Timbs? Was this the 40 blunt era? Heineken era? Like where hip hop made these ebbs and flows. So this is what we're gonna be chopping up about tonight. Porsche, I know you on your Jodeci shit tonight. So why don't we get started with one of your top 100 albums from 1991?
The funny thing is I said top 5 and then I proceeded to name like literally 20 albums. So, while I was thinking about the year 91, I was thinking basically, I forgot how significant 91 was. And Kill, you mentioned very often that N.W.A. is sort of like the milestone hip-hop album in 88 and again in 91 when it comes to releases, because it just so happens that N.W.A. sort of like breaks all the barriers when they drop stuff. And 91 was super unique because I know all of us who are older and lived it remember, but 91 is when N.W.A. sort of took over and then put hip hop on the map as a genre that could be profitable. And so that was a huge shift from what was going on prior to that. So for me, that's kind of significant because it affected how everybody else was kind of moving, you know what I mean? And what they were releasing. So I just wanted to bring that up for people who may not have lived through it or were born or won or whatever and forget or, just whatever. So with that said, do you want me to start with my number 1 or number 5?
I mean, whatever.
I forgot what you asked us.
whatever order you got. I don't have mine in any order. So
no.
if you have them in order, then start with your number 5. If you have them in order, count us down.
Honestly, it's like throwing darts. I can pick anything. I'm gonna go with Hev's Peaceful Journey
So
album.
you took one of mine.
We talk about that album. We talk about Hev all the time on
We
Apartment
try
5B.
to. We
Whenever
mostly do. We definitely do.
we do. We talk about him in Spaces. Anytime we can kind of talk about Hev, we talk about Hev. Heavy D and the Boys dropped Peaceful Journey, and for me, again, it's just everything that you want from Hev. He gives you all of it. That album is one of the ones that my little nephew listened to since he was one, because it's got Now That We Found Love on it. And that's just the most brilliant song. It was his favorite. That's my favorite now. Just seeing how he kind of, reacted to Hev and the boys and that kind of thing. So Peaceful Journey is definitely on my top 5 list for that year.
All right,
Yeah.
no doubt.
You know your nephew's favorite song because it's hard to get down because he's always around.
Well, Cyrus' favorite song is actually Troy. It's actually hilarious. But that's cool.
All right, no doubt. We got my brother Rel from the Philadelphia. What's going on, good brother?
Yo, what's good? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. You good, brother. You good.
Bet.
Dope shirt you got on right there.
Thank you, sir.
The first joint I got up from 91 is this joint right here, Breaking Atoms.
Man.
This joint right here, man. I remember it started with seeing the video for Watch Roger Do His Thing. There you go right there. Wild Pitch Records. You know what I mean? And two, we're still living in the era of hip hop where record labels mattered. You knew people by their record label. That's how the association was with and everything like that. So this up for bad. First thing I'm hearing is Watch Roger Do His Thing. I see the video. I'm like, yo, this is dope. You know what I mean? Dope joint. I mean, it's cool. Then came Looking at the Front Door, which was just huge. You know what I mean? Looking at the Front Door was everywhere. Dope story, dope everything. Then you get into Just Hanging Out, which is one of my favorite hip hop songs ever. Just Hanging Out. Amazing. So, I mean, this whole album right here from beginning to end, I mean, it sets off with Snake Eyes, Just Hanging Out, Looking at the Front Door, just a friendly game of baseball, talking about police brutality. You know what I mean? In 1991, and the way Large Pro just used it as baseball, and peace is not the word to play. The remix version of that is just bananas. Vamos al Pair with Pete Rock. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, one of the dopest posse cuts ever in the history of hip hop with Live at the Barbecue, introducing us to Nas, Joe Fatal, and Akinelli. People front on Akinelli. Like, I don't think that first Akinelli album, Vagina Diner, was dope. Large Pro production, was a crazy album. So, and I mean, this joint right here, man, probably my favorite song off this is Just Hanging Out. But what I started doing, and I want to say 94, 95, what I would do every Wednesday, I'd get out of class at Morgan. Every Wednesday, I would study a producer's album. And I mean, study it, not listening to songs, but I'm like, yo, what drums was they sampling? Were they using breakbeats? Were they chopping their drums? What kind of samples were they using? What else was out at this time that Large Professor was like competing with and everything like this? And this was the first album out of all the albums that had dropped to 95 that I reached for to really start studying as a producer. So that's a huge piece right there to say about Large Pro as a producer, because I don't think he gets enough props as a producer. So definitely my first pick, main source, Breaking Atoms. Definitely check that out. Gnu, which one of your first joints, good brother?
Yo, 1991, like you said, it was a dope year. That was a year that I graduated high school. So, hip hop was still kind of new. It was still fresh. But at that time, we had a lot of different styles coming out. At that time, Leaders of the New School, Future Without a Past album.
Yeah.
Was something I had in rotation. And I also I count that album because that was an album that I bought. Like, I spent money on. Like, it wasn't no streams, it wasn't no downloads, and then you had to go to the store and physically buy the tape or the cassette or the CD. But yeah, man, my favorite songs off of there, of course, Case of the PTA, Sound of the Zekas, you know what I'm saying?
Sound of the Zekas, man.
Yeah. International Zone Coaster. Now that song, that was a special song because when that song Busta Rhymes says, my man Gary didn't know. Right. So, but I had already had that name from middle school, but when I got to Morgan and that song was out, it was solidified, nah, Gary Gnu.
It's a birthday,
you
Sunny
know.
Fried. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was one of my top albums from that year, man. Leaders of the New School, Future Without a Past.
That Feminine Fat was stupid too, bro.
Oh,
Feminine Fat,
Feminine
yeah,
Fat, Feminine
Busta
Fat.
Rhymes.
Man.
Also doing it. That was the era where everybody in the video was like doing that.
Yeah, the East Coast. Yeah.
Everybody was doing that shit in the videos and shit. So Leaders of the New School was like, I think they started that shit. They was like one of the pioneers of that movement.
Yeah, Leaders was dope as hell, man. That was dope as hell. Vern, what you got for your first joint, bro?
I'm gonna go with a wolf in sheep's clothing. Black sheep.
Love it.
So for a number of reasons, I'm a native tongue head, and so this is the next up to bat off the native tongues. And then you put the tape in, and the first thing you hear is cussing, talking about snuffing his mom, killing his dad, and then they're like, "Yo, wake up! What happened? I had a dream that I was hard," and that I'm like, okay, I see where they're going with this. In the meantime, Dre's flow was so dope.
But in the meantime,
yeah, I had the Hawk one. Strobe Light Honey was funny. Let me see. Similac Child, I love that sample. Let me see. Flavor of the Month, obviously. La Minaj. And then two more songs. Bruh, Dre's blacked out on Black Within Me. Right. He went crazy on that mug, man. And then this is one of the albums that I'm so glad somebody said, hey man, we need to do this differently. Because there are two what's the name of it? Choice is Yours. There's The Choice is Yours, and there's The Choice is Yours Revisited. Bro, they could bury the first Choice is Yours in the backyard somewhere, because Revisited just totally annihilated it, man. So I mean, and bro, you talking about partying? So Gnu, you was in high school. That was my freshman year of college.
Okay.
Every party, every club, if you didn't drop down on your hunches when he said engine number 9,
right.
And then bro, when pick it up, man, the club just went crazy, man. So yeah, Black Sheep, A Wolf in Sheep Clothing is my first choice. Well, not number 1, but the first one I was talking. Yeah.
It's funny, Vern, you say the club. See, folk act like there wasn't a club before Puffy came around. Like niggas didn't go to the club. Like niggas didn't play hip hop in the club. Like the club just started when Bad Boy started. Like we would play The Choice is Yours in a club, in a party, in a house party, in a basement, wherever you was banging The Choice is Yours. Yeah, definitely Black Sheep, Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, dope joint. Rel, what you got up next?
Y'all probably can guess where I'm going with this. I'm going Death Certificate, Ice Cube.
Okay.
Y'all know how I feel about Cube, especially at this time. This joint is Steady Mobbing on there. True to the Game, Wrong Nigga to Fuck With, all that. It was an angry album, bro. Like it was real angry, man. It also had No Vaseline on the album, which is you know what that's about. But you know what I mean, this Q was in his zone. You know what I mean? He had like a 3-album zone where it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? The production's crazy on here, and like he's like calling people out. Like it's a real angry album, and this topic is going to be interesting because the 3 y'all names since I've been on here was on my list. So we probably going to be overlapping a lot. You know what I mean? But
we will.
I'm gonna go with Cube, Death Certificate.
Well, let's do this. Since Porsche has 108 albums for this year, Porsche, if somebody names one of your top 5s, say it, but go to one of your alternate joints. You know what I mean? So we don't have to double down on everything.
Okay, except for one. I have to elaborate on one.
No doubt. Do your thing. Yeah. You can elaborate now because I'm assuming it's something somebody already named. So
it is one somebody already named, but I'll save it.
All right.
I can put that on my slept on joint. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. I'll try not to overlap. My next one is Quik is the Name by DJ Quik.
Okay.
I'm the biggest fan of DJ. I love DJ Quik so much. I think he is one of the best rapper producers. He is just the embodiment of West Coast. This album is amazing. It's like soulful. It's got the West Coast funk. It's got like, he does have some weird lyrically. He's like, it was a different time. Like, lyrically, he's got some like pretty, like,
Now, Porsche, here's the thing, Porsche. We all know that if you follow me, I wasn't listening to DJ Quik because he had a perm. So, what are some of these lyrics that you're talking about?
Oh, no, not happening. No, sorry.
Hey, yo. I ain't repeating the music.
I just want you to look up the name of the first track on Quik is the Name, please. Like, just look.
Right. Just look up the first name of the track. All right.
First track.
So basically, they're words that we can't say anymore. We get canceled. Is what y'all saying?
It's not about being canceled. It's just,
nah.
Okay.
You listen to Akanali, so you be right.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking of something. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So look up the what's the name of the first song?
Sweet Black.
Right.
Yeah.
Quik is he will give you that. But at the same time, like, I just, we all love Doggy Style too when it dropped. Like, and that's a pretty explicit album. So, yeah. I mean,
and that's the first song. So you put in the album and you heard Sweet, you heard this.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's like, really? Okay. But then, yeah, I mean, it's DJ Quik. He is just I love his flow. I just love the way he raps. He is so West Coast to me. And I feel like that is like when I want West Coast artists, I want them to like emulate the West Coast, and I feel like Quik does that so well. And Quik is the Name is the album that I love this album. It's my favorite one in his catalog. Right before Rhythmalism. So yeah, DJ Quik.
For P, you got to talk about Quik's grooves too.
What?
You got to talk about Quik's groove. I mean, because that's when it started. Every album that he put out, he had a song called Quik's Groove. This is the one with the dope flute. Yeah. That's a great ride out. Yeah.
Instrumentation. Yeah. Quik is so good at like incorporating that into his albums all throughout. So again, he doesn't I think he gets overshadowed by Dre a lot as a West Coast producer, but he is very dope. Like he's 4.5 mics as a producer, as a rapper, as all of that. So yeah.
Okay.
Quik is the Name.
No doubt.
Hey, one more I can say from DJ Quik that I always remember is he was coming at MC8 and he told MC8 he took the G out of his name because the G ain't in him. I was like,
yeah. Hey, and speaking of that song though, that's when he said some really flagrant stuff in that song. Like if you ever listen to that disc, like he said some borderline like just listen to it. You're gonna hear what I'm talking about.
Now what's the name of this song? I'm already looking at the words.
I think it's Dollars and Cents, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
All right, and it's off this album.
It's dollars the plus sign cents.
Okay.
Yeah, dollars. Yeah.
Not off of this album. It's off of the
not
album.
on this album.
All right. No doubt. The next joint I got up is I'm sure one we'll all name, Low End Theory by Tribe. I mean, classic, 5 mic. I could give it 10. I would. Something that's talked about on the timeline every day. If I see another What's Better, Low End or Midnight, I mean, it's just a conversation that's going to last the test of time. I always tell folk when I first heard People's Instinctives, I wasn't a fan of Tribe. And when I say I wasn't a fan, that doesn't mean I didn't like them. They were cool, but you got to understand, in these days, everybody who was coming out was dope, to some extent, so, I left my wild on some gun. I was like, yo, this is cool. Of course, I heard Benita and it was crazy. I heard the Can I Kick It remix with the Baby Huey drums. That was crazy. So I became a fan as more songs came out. But when I heard Check the Rhyme, I was good to go. I was in. If there was a knock on Tribe for me, it was like, yo, why these boys dressed like this? But then when I see the video for Check the Rhyme, we back to normal jerseys, jean shorts, New Balance. They around the way in Queens. And I mean, again, who could front on Check the Rhyme? And then when this album dropped, I mean, just everything. Starting off with Excursions, Bugging Out. It was that breakout moment for Phife. Because for the first album, I'm like, yo, why is this boy even here? Is he part of the group? You know what I mean? But you know, you hear Bugging Out, then you go into Butter. It's like, yo, Butter was just absolutely crazy. You know what I mean? And Show Business, Vibes and Stuff, Infamous, Date Rape, Check the Rhyme, Everything is Fair, Jazz. The only song I never liked was Sky Pager, but you know what I mean? And then
I like Sky Pager. That's pretty.
Yeah, I don't know why I just never liked Sky Pager. But and then it would sit and then
left field.
Yeah, you're right. It was left. In this scenario, I mean, that's just again, we just did it with Main Source with Live at the Barbecue, one of the dopest posse cuts. Now we coming back with Scenario. Now we all know when we first heard Busters, as I rewind. I mean, there's just certain times in hip hop like where time just pauses. You know what I mean? And it's just like that was one of those times with Scenario, which was just absolutely crazy. The New had already spoke on Leaders of the New School, so you kind of already saw the Tribe Leaders thing coming together and everything like that. So again, just an amazing 5 mic album. Instantly became a fan of Tribe. Really brought in jazz even more into hip hop, because people love to say like this was the first jazz album. It was not. Night in Tunisia, Primo used that back with No More Mr. Nice Guy. You know, so Tribe was not the first people to sample jazz. We can stop that lie right there. They're probably the first ones that really brought it to a mainstream level. But please stop saying Tribe was the first to sample jazz, because they weren't. So definitely Low End Theory. That's what I got up. Gnu, what you got up next, good brother?
Go to the next, because I want to look up the track list for one of my albums.
All right, no doubt, bro. What you got?
All right, I'm gonna go. De La Soul is dead. No. Yeah, I already said it now, so okay. De La Soul is dead.
Very dope album, man.
All right, so you're coming off the heels of an earth-shattering, groundbreaking phenomenon, which was 3 feet high and rising, and you know wondering what they're gonna do next. And so they got tired of their hippies, the Daisy Age type stuff. So they came back with something totally different, man. And I'm just go off the top of my head. I mean, like the skit on Biddy's at the BK Lounge. They were throwing punches and chairs, and they didn't care who they was hitting. I thought they were supposed to be about peace.
Bro, my favorite line from that is, you think he did when he didn't? Like, I used to always say that shit. I'm like, you think he did when he didn't, nigga? Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm out here quoting skits on this joint.
May said, why do people think because we talk peace we can't throw no joints? Then you got the diss. They was at the Burger King Lounge. He was going back and forth with old girl. Fanatic of a B word. Come on, everybody, do the baseball.
Oodles.
Oodles, bro. Millie pulled a pistol on Santa.
Millie pulled a pistol, on Santa. Yeah, that,
bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's
I hope they all go ahead and get their crap together, man. Because I need to own these physical copies again, man.
Bro. I mean, even the cartoons on the inside of it, like the I don't know which way I'm going, but the cartoons that were just going into it and just everything. Like, again, them liner notes, man. Mm-hmm. Liner notes. I mean, Roller Skate Jam named Saturday.
Saturday.
Bro, he had like 3 or 4. I mean, I like the one that got the Woody Woodpecker scratching. With, Dre went up on that. So every Saturday we used to go to Club XS. Every Saturday on the way to Club XS, Saturday was what we was rocking, man. So it was just a good time, and it felt like, all right, we heard Daisy Age and stuff when we were in high school. Now we're in college and we partying, and their music is evolving and growing with us as well, man. So, I mean, De La Soul is on my wall. So yeah, you know how I feel about them boys. But De La Soul is dead.
Here's the crazy thing. For somebody watching who may not have heard this album, we've named a lot of songs, and I still got more songs to name. Peace Porridge was crazy. Afro Connections at a high 5. Woo! That was my shit right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and then the single Ring Ring Ring. I'll never forget. My man, Cool DJ Frank hit me up. Was like, "Yo, come through the crib. Like, what's up?" He was like, "Yo, listen to this new Daylight." When Ring 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 came on, bruh, that is one of my favorite beats ever. incredible concept to me of just everybody want to get down. Yo, here's my number, take my number down. It's 2222222. I got an answer machine that'll talk to you. Like, bro, like just everything about this album is crazy. And again, like Vern said, you taking it from, you know, the Daisy Age to this, like it was just like the perfect growth album. You know what I mean? And again, love the Prince Paul, because I think Paul don't get a lot of credit for, especially for these first two albums, as kind of being that fourth member of De La Soul. So definitely a very dope album. Bro, what you got up next, bro?
Yo, I want to say something though. You mentioned Scenario. Remember the Scenario remix?
Woo! Kid Hood.
Rest in peace, Kid Hood.
Trust and believe. I was going to talk about that later on in the show, but I mean,
he trashed that joint.
Destroyed
it. Just do me a favor. Pin that thought till we get to like what changed in 91.
All right, cool. I'm going. That's a tough one. All right, I'm gonna go with the Cypress Hill joint. Cypress Hill first album. I remember that shit caught me off guard. I ain't gonna lie. Like that sound and B-Real's voice, and the level of not giving a fuck that they had, like it kind of just caught me off guard, man. But it was dope, man. Like how I could just kill a man, hand on the pump, all that. Yo, they had some. Hand on the pump. Yeah, the Funky Phil one. They had some fire on that album. You know what I'm saying? And they just was doing their own thing. That's what I like respected about them. Like you really can't compare them, especially then. You can't really compare them to nobody else. Like, and this is a time where you had to be original. You coming in biting people's shit, like that was frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I had a lot of respect for them when they came out, because you know what I'm saying, they were just different. And you know that first album got heat on it. Like heat, strong 4.5 for me. You know what I'm saying? It was just different from, you know, anything that I heard. Especially like B-Real voice is real distinct. You know what I'm saying? When you hear him, you know it's him. You know what I mean? And then production was like dirty, in your face. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with the Cypress Hill, John.
Hey, real quick. I mean, I'm smiling because again, this is my freshman year in college. So but I remember being at the warehouse when I first heard how I could just kill a man for the first time. I'm like, what is this? I mean, his bank. I mean, it's But the thing about 91, just on the albums, Kill probably gonna hit on it later, but just on the albums we've named so far, do you hear the variety of styles, you know, and all that kind of stuff, man? It was just a dope year in hip hop.
Yeah, and I remember
go ahead, bro.
I didn't know where they was from. Like when I saw the video, like the way they was dressed, they weren't dressed like typical West Coast dudes. They had on like Carhartt shit and all that. I'm like, where these dudes from? You know what I'm saying?
They
like,
shot in Harlem or Queens or something like that, right?
Yeah. So I didn't know where they was from. You know what I mean? But I just knew they was dope, man.
They had Ice Cube in the video.
Yeah. It's funny you said that, bro. I thought they was from Cypress Hill, Brooklyn, because there's a Cypress Hill in Brooklyn. It's a part of Brooklyn called Cypress Hill. So I thought they was from Brooklyn for the longest time. You know what I mean? So, and definitely, and the wild part is, I forgot where I heard it or read the story, but they were saying how the album was kind of stale. It wasn't moving. You know what I mean? And then they put How I Could Just Kill a Man in Juice. And they said after that, they was like, yo, we couldn't keep the record in stores, everything. He was like, yo, you know, and it's crazy to me that that's what had to blow them up. You know what I mean? Because you take, if that doesn't get in Juice, we may not be talking about Cypress Hill like the legends that they are. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is that I don't know if they were the first in hip hop in general, but I felt like they were the huge crew to talk about smoking weed like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this was like, yo, I smoke, like they smoke they weed heads. You know what I mean? And like This is before the Chronic. This is before Redman. So
I'd say before Redman.
Yeah, you know, so it's like Cypress are the originators of that too. I don't know if you ever seen they podcast, but they got the joint. I think it's called the Hot Box or something.
Hot Box, yeah.
Yeah, and they just smoking up and B-Real's whip. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, that's the illest way that you can do an interview with Cypress Hill is just sitting in somebody's car getting fucked up with Cypress. Dog, man, it's like drink chance for weed heads. You know what I mean? So. Just dope. I keep saying have name me Grab. Grab lovers in the building.
What's up, y'all? What's good? What's good?
Rapper, what's up, man?
Right?
Yeah, you good, Grab. You good, Grab. You good.
What's good, everybody? Peace and love to everybody. It's good.
Yes, sir.
No doubt. Gnu, you didn't do yours because you wanted to wait for a sec. So what you got?
Yeah. You know what? I didn't want to do mine, and then Vern did De La Soul Is Dead. That was actually my number one album, man. Like I'm
okay.
That's on my list too.
I'm a huge Native Tongue fan, so like De La Soul Is Dead, that album just like was everything to me, man. And it came out like I think like the end of my senior year in high school in '91. So that was like the soundtrack, man. But another album that was on my list, KMD, Mr. Hood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, the OG MF Doom. The OG MF Doom.
A lot of people didn't really rock with this album back then. At the time, I remember cats used to look at me strange, like, what's this? But I used to love these stuff, man. You know, Zev Love X was in the Gas Face with Third Base, so ever since then, man, and just you know how he evolved into MF Doom and all that, man. Like the story behind KMD is like it's crazy, man. But the song "Who Me," "Hum Rush" was dope to me. They had Peach Fuzz. They had Nitty Gritty with Brand Nubian on there.
Yeah.
That was that Hard to the Left collective.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was definitely something I had in rotation back in '91, man. KMD, Mr. Hood, man. Like I said, and the way you know how Zev Love X evolved into MF Doom just made this album even like more of a classic to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt. R.I.P. to MF Doom. R.I.P. to Sub Rock.
Even how his brother died and all that. Like, it's a lot of mystique behind that group, man.
Yeah. You know, and then the other piece that hurt them was, you know, when they had KMD, the Black Bastard joint.
The second album.
The second album, and then they got you know, the labels wouldn't put it out because you know the cover.
That's the vinyl.
The cover, yeah.
No. That was the iPad, but I want to say I got the physical down here somewhere. But the cover art, the label shelved it because of the cover art too. So. You know, again, Grab, you were on the show that we talked about this. I don't think we really dive into it enough, man. Just how and where people's careers would have been if albums that were supposed to come out actually came out. Like, you know, there's so many shelved albums that we know about, and I'm sure there's probably just as many or more that we didn't even know. Right? You know, that they got shelved.
Just really quick, speaking of albums that got shelved, have you ever heard of Power of Three?
Nah, what's that?
Power of Three was a group from DC that Chucky Thompson produced. He produced the whole album.
Nah.
Yeah, Off the Chain. Album was crazy.
Word?
Yeah. Yep. They were signed to want to say East West.
When did they come out?
Yeah, and they never came out. They reckon never came out.
Like what year are we talking though?
This was in the 90s.
Oh, the 90s.
When Chuck had his Chuck Life production deal.
All right, so we talking like late '98 because we talking as after he left Bad Boy and everything like that. All right. Yeah. Nah, I never heard of them, but I mean, again, brother, your album, 5 Mic album, mine not. You know what I mean? That never dropped when it was supposed to drop. The LP from Large Professor, like Trey Lee's second album, Live from the 215. There's so many dope albums that I felt like would have put people's name in a whole nother stratosphere. We were just talking about 3 Times Dope.
That album, that
album come out properly, they would have catapulted cats.
Yeah.
The I&I album had Faking Jacks on it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yo.
And it didn't come out in time off of that single?
Nah. It didn't drop, bro.
So like, it wasn't competitive enough.
That single was
They said we weren't competitive enough.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And you talk about the single, then you talk about the remix with when Pete used the jingle bells with the Havoc. You know, if you keep faking jacks, niggas who fake jack, they laid on their back. Like that whole album is a 5 mic classic. Anytime I see Grab in person, I'm telling them how much I love that album. And it's crazy because I always tell people I don't think we look at the trajectory that so many artists share. So when you look at Preem and Pete Rock, both incredible producers, both Porsches, one A and one B. Don't ask her which one is better because she'll fight you. You know, you've got these two producers. They've got this group with one MC, Guru and CL. You know, Primo has Group Home. Pete had I&I. You know what I mean? Preem had J. Rue. Pete had D-Dot Baby Paul. You know what I mean? Like, it was so synonymous how they was just lined up, and it's just so fucked up that we never got. Like, imagine how much, not saying it would hurt Preem's legacy, because I don't think it would hurt it, but imagine if we just had to just Men in Black, J. Rue, and Group Home out of Preem's discography like that. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people who say Group Home is his dopest produced album ever. You know what I mean? That's a lot how I feel about Pete with the I&I album. You know what I mean? I don't think it's his greatest, but it's one of his greatest produced albums, and it never came when it was supposed to come. So just to say all of that, to say that, you know, these shelved albums that we didn't get in that KMD, I really think that if that joint would have dropped, we'd be talking about KMD in another light. Not saying they would have been, you know, one of the biggest groups ever. I just think their name would be more of a household word than what it is or whatever like that. Grab, which one of your first joints, brother?
All right, I'm gonna start with "Breaking Atoms" by Main Source.
Yes, sir.
I just love that album. End to end burner. No skips. You know what I mean? No pauses. You know what I mean? Just an end to end burner, man, that I love. You know what I mean? And it was cool to, you know, get to meet him and hang out with him and, you know, sit on the benches in Queens with him and my brother and stuff and do stuff like that too. So that brought me even closer to that album. You know what I mean? So the album is very dope. Love that album. And I was in college when that came out, so there was some good times.
Question, Grab. You saying getting to hang with him and stuff like that. Did y'all like trade like techniques and like this?
I'm sure him and Pete did.
Yeah,
I'm sure him and Pete. Yeah, him and Pete definitely did. I'm sure they did, because you know he's come to the basement before. One time he came, he brought a bass guitar with him to the basement. They was always, you know, going back and forth to each other's spots and stuff. And every now and then I get, you know, lucky enough to take the ride with him to Queens and go chill out with Large Professor. There was a pizza shop we used to always go to called Glorious that had the bomb pizza that we would always go to and shit.
I always love Grab stories on food, on how Pete and Hab, what they used to make when Hab would come over.
Man, we make sugar cookies together.
That's crazy.
Wow, good. Like from scratch, bro. Like no recipe, like no, like, you know, no
shit from the store, just
like from scratch, bro. Oh my God, they would be so good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, real hip hop stories with Grab Love on Apartment 5B. Who knew fucking Heavy D and Pete Rock made sugar cookies from scratch? Like, come on. You know what I mean?
And they wouldn't have no real shape to them. They'd just be like lumps, like, but they'd be good, man. They'd be good. Straight up from scratch, yo.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Nothing, but yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Porsche, what you got up for your next joint, miss?
For my next one, and I think this is probably the most important album drop of the year, because again, when we go back to, like, you know, years ago and we're talking hip hop, I always think it's important to kind of revisit the headlines that were kind of happening at the time too, like just globally or in the US or wherever you were, so that you could see how hip hop sort of touched on things that were happening. And that's always kind of how hip hop was. It always was a reflection of what people were living or seeing, and wanted to bring that to light and address it and talk about it. So 91 was the year, if you guys I'm sure remember, was when the Rodney King situation happened in LA, and that video got picked up you know, where the cops were beating Rodney King, and the video went sort of viral for the time, and all the news media platforms picked it up and aired it, and that was crazy. It was crazy for us at the time. And Tupacalypse Now dropped. So the Rodney King situation happened in March, and then Pac didn't drop, I think, until the end of the year. So like December maybe, or towards the end of the year. So Pac addresses that. You know, he addresses police brutality, and he talks about, this is the album with Brenda's Got a Baby, with Trapped. And I think for that reason, again, I'm a huge fan of hip hop being a time capsule for the years that you're kind of living and experiencing. And Tupacalypse Now is that. It gives you a sort of a insight into what was going on in the US at the time. And yeah, like that to me is probably the most important album in 91.
All right, no doubt. Next up, we're gonna go with an album that I never hear anybody talk about like that. Niggas for Life, man. This album right here, I trust me, I know I'm in the minority when I say I feel like this is Dre's dopest produced album. I know everybody's gonna say Chronic or Doggy Style, but this right here for me, just being a producer, like, this is what made me sonically understand what Dre does. Because this album from beginning to end, I mean, from Niggas Don't Die, Niggas for Life, Appetite for Destruction, Always Into Something, Real Niggas. Then it kind of goes off to the left. It kind of goes off to the left for a minute. Like, I was listening to this one time. Now we getting into Killer Hooker and One Less Bitch and Find Them Fucking Fleet. They kind of went over the deep end for a while. I was listening to this like the other day, and I was like, God damn, I kind of see why Dolores Stuck was like, get this shit off. Like, I'm like, y'all killed the fucking hooker. Like, nigga. Like, did y'all really just say you killed the hooker? Raped her, killed her, put her in the trunk of the car? Like, nigga. Like, so, but then we get back to normal. I guess if this is getting back to normal, would I rather fuck you? I mean, yeah. This was my shit.
Yeah, man.
I totally understand that 48. That's not what you should have been listening to, but I'd rather fuck you, bruh. With Eazy-E, and I mean the 808s. And the thing about 91 is I got my license this year, so now I'm driving. So this is like the soundtrack. This is when 91, when niggas had house speakers in they back of their fucking Amigo and Suzu and fucking shit like that. Like, so when I'd rather fuck you dropped, it was like boom. Oh God, just so many great memories. Approach to Danger, like 1-800 Compton. Like, to me, this album, if we just dead all the killing women on this album and raping women, like, this is an incredible fucking album. And I get it, you know, Cube came out with the No Vaseline, and I felt like that kind of overshadowed this album. But Niggas for Life, man, God, I love this album. What you gonna say, Greg?
It's just interesting that you picked that album because the Chronic and Doggy Style are like sprinkled with other people's production hands on it as well. Whereas I believe this Niggas for Life, what, him and Colin Wolf, maybe I'm not sure,
right?
Or him and Yella, maybe, but you know, like these the other records, you know, that, you know, Daz has laid claim to some of that production on those other records, whereas this record that you picked is more, I think it's more him.
Here's the funny part about that, Grab. I've always told people, it's almost like what Jay said about Dame. You made Jay, we'll make another Jay. And we still waiting on Dame to make another Jay. I've yet to hear Daz make anything close to the Chronic. I'm not saying Daz don't got some shit. He got some shit. I haven't heard him make anything close to the Chronic. You know what I mean? I haven't heard him make anything close to Doggy Style. So that's why, like, for me, I'm like, I'm old school, y'all. Like, when niggas be talking about the 80-40-20 with basketball, nigga, can you hoop? I'm the eye test. I'm just the eye test. So I'm the ear test. Like, if somebody said, yo, Pete really didn't make Mecca and the Soul Brother, and then he made fucking Main Ingredient, it's like, there you go. You know what I mean? Like, here's the proof. Like, if yo, I really did this. Here's the proof. If nigga said, yo, that nigga Kill ain't really make that, I don't mind. Nigga, here's some more beats. It's no problem. So whenever Daz is like, I produced the Chronic, I'm like, we'll produce another Chronic. And I've been waiting 30 years.
Does he produce the whole thing, or does he say he contributed to it?
I've heard he produced. You know, niggas don't like using words like contribute. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a nigga word. You know, we don't say shit like, well, I contribute. You know, it's like, nah, nigga, I did that beat. Like, you know. So again, I'm not saying, and again,
some tracks on there and Doggy Style.
Right. And again, I'm just like, I have yet to hear a Nothing But a G thing from, you know, from Daz. You know what I mean? So again, like, if somebody said, yo, Pete didn't really make, you know, Troy, nigga, he may straighten it out next. Okay, you don't believe that? Then I made The Basement. Yo, Primo didn't really make Come Clean. Well, no problem. I'll make Mass Appeal. I'll do something else. I'll do other beats that are on the same level as what I'm claiming that I did. And that's something that Daz hasn't done. It's no disrespect. I'm not saying Daz hasn't made dope beats, but I've yet to hear a beat from Daz that's nothing but a G thing. You know, Dre Day, Let Me Ride, Gin and Juice, you know, none of those stuff has come to that level. When Dre left Death Row, it was Pac that held that down. It wasn't Daz with these incredible beats. So, but yeah, even when I do a Best of Dre mix, I stop with Doggy Style because I feel like after Doggy Style, that's when we get into Scott Storch and Mailman and different things like that. So my Best of Dre stops with Doggy Style. But yeah, even if Dre, I believe Dre did the bulk of all those albums, but this one right here, just sonically, like, and it was doing that thing that was on HBO with Dre and Jimmy Iovine, and he was saying how when he went to Interscope, the Chronic was already done. It was already mixed. And Jimmy Iovine was like, nigga, you mixed this by yourself? Like, you didn't have to bring in any professional people to mix and master this? Like, the Chronic was done when it got to Interscope. Like, that's a testament to Dre's.
Yeah, he has an amazing ear, bro.
Yeah, like, I remember I was in my man's crib at Morgan. If y'all remember, we used to have them 5 CD disc changes. And it was like, we were listening to something else. Yeah, I still got mine too. We was listening to something, and then this came on, and it just got louder. And niggas was like, yo, who turned the volume up? And it was like, nobody touched anything. It's just, this shit is just bigger than whatever else.
That one mixed the hell out of it.
It was just bigger than that. Gnu, what you got up next for yours, good brother?
Okay, my next album for 1991. A lot of cats used to look at me strange when I would play this album, but the UMCs, man.
Oh man. Oh man.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
Fruits of Nature.
Yep.
Yeah. I
had that as my slept song.
They was in that native tongue kind of vein, and anybody that sounded anything close to that, I was rocking with, man. But those cats had bars though. Like, it wasn't like they was on some. But I think a lot of street cats, like I said back then, niggas would look at me strange, like, yo, what you playing? What is this, man? Why you playing that? Play some Ice Cube or something, you know?
Right.
She's dope.
Man, I still listen to that album monthly.
GNIBRSAL.
Yeah. And one of them went on, I forgot which one, but one of them is a producer. They produced something for Ghostface. One of Ghost's biggest.
No, Kool Kim is still rapping. He's still
Hot
G.
I forgot whether he either did Motherless Child or I forgot what he did. Let me look it up. But I know he did something for them. And I didn't know they was from Staten Island either. You know what I mean? So
no, even on this album, they're saying Wu-Tang. They're saying
slower. Yes, they're the first person to say Wu-Tang.
Yeah, word. That's on this album.
Yep.
Before the Wu.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, bro,
they were calling Staten Island Shaolin from then.
Yep.
It's gonna last.
I ain't gonna take y'all on no tangent. We'll talk later on that one.
Yeah, a lot of that
on us not knowing that. On us not knowing that. Yep. It sparked something.
Yep.
Yeah,
right,
so Gnu took mine, so I'm gonna just piggyback on you. So It's Gonna Last is a ridiculous joint. Anywhere the Wind Blows is a ridiculous joint.
That was my shit.
Yeah, bro, come on. Never Neverland, man. That cello, word. Come on, bro. Them dudes. That's one of my all-time favorite albums. It's on my Wall of Fame. And on IG, Kool Kim be spitting heat rocks, bro.
Yeah,
he got a project that's coming out pretty soon. Yeah, he doing his thing still.
He's still doing it.
Oh yeah,
he's still fire.
Nice.
Yeah, that's dope. Bro, what you got up next, good brother?
All right, before I say mine, I got a rep for Philly real quick. You said something on my shirt, but my kicks is the
I see with the
Philly Ducks. Yeah,
Those are the
look.
SBs.
Gum soul.
Yeah, they
Inside,
got
a cheese. They got a cheesesteak right here.
Yes, sir.
Dope,
And
son.
the Liberty Bell right here. So I
Yes,
just had
sir.
to,
Those are the Philly SBs.
yes, sir.
Mhm.
So I'ma stay in Philly.
That's dope.
Look,
Yo, hold on
I
for
ain't
1 sec, bro, because I just got it.
Go ahead.
Haas, he did Apollo Kids. That's what he did. Apollo Kids.
Okay.
Yeah, he did that joint. That was crazy. That's crazy. My bad, bro. What you got?
I'ma stay in Philly. 91, I'm like 8, 9 years old. I'm going, and like, you know, for the people that's gonna watch this, my first one was Ice Cube, and then I went Cypress Hill.
I know what you're about to do.
If you got a, you know, anybody got a problem, look, I want all the smoke. You know what I mean? I ain't no sucker. We can do whatever. I'm going home base.
Home base. I knew you was gonna say that. Yeah.
Okay? I'm going home base.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Listen, let me tell you. Listen.
Let's go.
Dope is dope. I don't care, man. If it
Well,
wasn't
you ain't
gangsta,
got to make no apologies, man.
dope,
'Cause
dope,
if-
Not at
dope,
all.
dope.
if people don't know
Will
Will
besides
besides Fresh Prince, nigga, that needs
Yeah.
to burn down stage. Come on, man. But go ahead, Real. You ain't gotta apologize.
You good, bro.
I feel like Jeff. I feel like Jeff was in his bag on this John. I mean, minus "Summertime" being one of the greatest songs ever. You know what I'm saying? You had "Ring My Bell" on this John. You had what is it? "The Things You Do." I mean, you had heat on this album, and it was in a time where we were going through like a transition with hip hop, where it was kind of getting away from that. You know what I'm saying? The fun was leaving a little bit. You know what I'm saying? This album, what kept the fun there, it was still there. And, you know, contrary to what some people might think, you know, Will can spit, you know what I'm saying? So, man, this album, that's no obvious album. I mean, I was 9 years old, so, you know, I was around. You know what I'm saying? Not getting in trouble.
You got the Mr. Roboto voice.
Yeah.
The funny thing, here's the thing with Will.
Oh, my fault. Y'all hear me now?
Yeah, you back. I think the funny thing with Will is that I understand why people don't respect Will. You know what I mean? I think one, if you're not from Philly, and two, if you're not a certain age, you don't respect Will as an MC. If you're from Philly, then you knew the times like Steady B was talking shit on Power 99, and Will went right up there and battled him right there on the air. And, you know, Will was coming from that era of being an MC. And what I mean by that is he was really the master of ceremonies. You know what I'm saying? He was the reason why Vern was saying he would tear down shows, because he literally was like the MC of a circus. Meaning what I mean by that, he'd come out and do a song, he'd introduce you to Jazzy Jeff. Jeff would get busy for 5 minutes on the wheels, he'd do 2 more songs, he'd introduce you to Reddy Roxy, which is one of the dopest beatboxers ever, who nobody talks about, who could be doing beatboxing underwater, doing video games. Then he'd do 2 more songs, then he'd bring out the 2 hype dancers and do brand new funk and just tear the whole place down. So he really was like the MC, a master of ceremonies, you know what I mean? Yep. And he was a very dope MC, but I think the problem is most people, if you got on the wheel with parents just don't understand, and I think I can beat Mike Tyson, and you know, this Nightmare on My Street. At the end of the day, again, I won't say Will did this to himself, because I read his book. Very dope book. Very, very, very dope book. Actually had me shifting some things in my life around. But if you only know those singles, then I can't get mad at you for thinking Will's whack as shit. Like, the nigga made a song called I Think I Could Beat Mike Tyson. Yeah. This nigga made a song talk about Freddy Krueger Nightmare on My Street. Like, nigga, like, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you saw my blinker. Yeah,
you know, like, bro, I get it. Like, so I can't being like, kill this your man, and I'm like, I get it. I'm talking about back in the day. Portia will tell you in Paradise's book about the Latin Quarters, he talks about how Will and Jeff would come up to the Latin Quarters and tear that shit down. You know what I mean?
That was one of their biggest live performances. That was getting played a lot in New York on the radio.
If you listen to Rock the House, their Live in Union Square joint is absolutely, do me that justice. For everybody out there who thinks Will's whack, just go to YouTube, Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince Live at Union Square, and listen to them tear that shit down.
Yes,
Okay, because let me explain something to you about New York. Yeah, well, Ready Roxy. Let me explain to you something about New York niggas. Love y'all to death. Y'all, some of y'all are very braggadocious about your city, and y'all don't want outsiders coming in. So from niggas that come from Philly to New York to Union Square and Latin Quarters and tear that shit down, my nigga, that's enough right there to get respect. You know, because yeah, Schoolie D. Like again, you know. So again, I get why people don't rock with Will, but I'm just here to say, Rock the House is an incredibly dope album. You know, and for that time period, Will was a dope MC.
Yeah, he laid his shit. I said Will already laid his path, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You can't be on NBC every week and then expect this nigga to turn around and make Cypress Hill songs like How I Could Just Kill a Man. You can't fucking do that with Benny Medina, you know, executive producing your NBC TV show. You can't do that. So
that's Will Smith. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Vern, you could piggyback on UMC. Rel, you did that. Grab what you got up next for yours.
My next one, I'm gonna take a cue from Rel and I'm gonna take it home. I'm gonna say Peaceful Journey, Heavy D and the Boys. Love that album. I'm on the album.
Do me a favor for a sec, Grant. Give us what's the feel of Mount Vernon? Troy passed away. You know, what's the feel of the city? What's the feel of Hev? What's the feel of this whole album being made?
Troy passes, puts Pete in a depression, puts Hev in a depression. But Hev knew he had to deliver an album, and Pete had just got his deal going, so he started working on Mecca the Sober, and they just was working, man. They still was working. I think that's what took their mind away from the loss of Troy was like just keep working. You know what I mean? I think they worked not completely through the pain, but as one of the remedies to the pain. You know, they got in that studio and worked, and I think the culminating moment for both of them, Hev and Pete, was when Pete and CL created They Reminisce Over You. I think that was like the culminating moment for them. Because Hev was like, wow, this is incredible. You know what I mean? And I think that inspired him to keep going, and then eventually create Peaceful Journey.
Okay.
The actual song, and then work on the album and that stuff.
That's Jodeci, right, Grab?
Yeah, singing on the hook. Yeah, that's Jodeci singing on the hook. Just love that album. It's a song on it. Oh man, I was meant to go grab the album while y'all were talking.
I got the track list up. Which you want me to just start naming?
Yeah.
All right. Now that we found love, Let It Rain, Don't Curse, Peaceful Journey, The Lover's Got What You Need, He's Always Around. Is it good to you? Obviously. Sister.
I'm on that. Okay.
Oh, yep. Is it good to you? Letter to the Future. Swinging with the Hepster, Body and Mind.
With the Hepster.
Okay.
Swinging with the Hepster. Y'all want to hear lyrical play from Big Boy? Y'all, for those people who be sleeping on, oh, you love Luda, love rapper, wah. Listen to Swinging with the Hepster, yo. Lyrically, like the way he, and delivery wise, that song is amazing, yo. I was like, God, he was letting off on that joint, just letting off, yo. Swinging with the Hepster, that's it right there. With the Rock Creek Park bass line. Yeah, that joint. Swinging with the Hepster, that's my joint. That joint is crazy.
You talk about posse cuts kill Don't Curse.
Yeah, man.
That's on. I was at that video shoot. That was a fun day, man.
It looked like a fun day. I mean, not only
the best video, it's just everything about that is the best. It really is.
Like, I don't know, all there together, or did everybody film their scenes?
Everybody was there. Everybody was there together.
Okay.
It was like everybody came that one day. Everybody had their room that they
was
went
the dopest part. Was they
on his arm?
Yeah, he came in here, broke his arm riding his motorcycle. He came in, he was silked out. He had the silk scarf on, purple silk scarf, purple silk pants, silk shirt with paisley on it. You know what I mean? Like, he was dapper, yo. He came through like that. You know what I mean? Tip came through, Pooh came through with the, you know, with the hill figure, crazy and all of that, and the backpack on, you know, with his little nephew and all of that. Yeah, it was dope, man. It was a dope day.
I think the dopest thing to me was just how everybody had their own room. You know what I mean? That kind of represented them. Just dope song, dope, just all around vibe. And again, who don't show up for Hev? You know what I mean? And I love the fact that G-Rick was on it. You know, it's like, yo, this is the king of cursing, but he ain't gonna curse. You know what I mean? So just again, Porch was talking about how every time any chance we get to salute Hev, we do. Who else could get all these people to come together on the same day? Because rappers do that.
Yeah.
You know, and
everybody showed up that day.
Yeah, everybody showed up, and everybody followed the rules. Everybody was a Boys to Men nigga that day. Niggas followed the fucking rules. Nobody cursed. Nobody did anything because it's Hev. You know, I mean, and again, it's just a testament to Hev's character and just the respect he had in hip hop. Porsche, what you got up next, miss?
My next one, and I'm surprised, Kill, you kind of haven't mentioned it yet. I kept thinking you were going to mention it, and I'd have to knock it off.
It might be coming next.
It's Naughty by Nature.
And it's not next.
Okay. I know that you love Yoke the Joker, and I know you love...
No. That's on my slept on list. That's my slept on.
Definitely. So, yeah, I mean... Tretch is just amazing. He's a powerhouse. That album is, again, I can't really speak to what the climate was where I was, because I was in the middle of Canada, up above North Dakota, where nothing hip hop ever happens ever. So there was no climate. But all I know is that it was a super dope album. And that one, I mean, Uptown Anthem is on there, OPP, you got Yoke the Joker. Like, it's a dope crossover album. It's got kind of everything. And yeah, you get all of Tretch, and I love that. So Naughty by Nature is self-titled.
All right, no doubt. The last one I got for my top 5 is going to be Step in the Arena by Gangstar. You know what I mean?
That was in mine.
My favorite Gangstar song ever is Just to Get a Rep. You know what I mean? The video was incredible. The beat was incredible. I remember the first time seeing the video, and it was just like, damn, this is what y'all coming back with? Like, I think for me, that was one of the dopest feelings. Like, when one of your favorite groups, okay, they first album is done, it's like, well, how they gonna come with their second album? And you hear something like with EPMD hearing So What You're Saying, it's like, God damn, this how y'all coming back? Like, that's how I felt like with Just to Get a Rep. It was like, yo, this shit is crazy. And I mean, you got Check the Technique, Form of Intellect, that was crazy. You know what I mean? Who's gonna take the weight? And to me, it was like, this was the first time, like, this was the beginning.
Ministry.
Street Ministry. This was to me like really the beginning stages of seeing what Premier could do on the turntables. You know, and him being able, like, who's gonna take the weight, being able to scratch, and like just all of that. Like, and it was like, to me, that was the beginning stages of what we gonna come see from Take It Personal and Master Pill, and just all the incredible scratches that, you know, I don't know, can't see this a while ago, they was doing a Primo challenge for Master Pill and having DJs see if they could scratch it like how Preem scratched it. So just a testament to just how nasty Preem was on that. Good news. What's your last joint for your top 5 albums?
I mean, you guys have pretty much named everything on my list, man. Maybe I would say the BDP live album, Live Hardcore Worldwide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I had the track list up too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but like, you know, a live album of Criminal Minded songs from that album. Yeah, but that was just a joke joint. I remember he had that Jesus Christ was black. Like,
yep. Yo, people
super conscious, dope.
Yo, people don't understand how dope Chris was live, especially during this era. Like, you know, and somebody had brought this up on the timeline the other day, and it was like, yo, these new cats couldn't make no live album like that. Like, yo, it was like, yo, they used to make these live albums just in case you didn't get to experience it, that you could sit at home and experience the live album. That BDP Worldwide, that was one of my slept on joints too. So that's a very very dope pull.
Play that shit all the time in high school and in college.
Yeah, because nobody talks about that joint. So that's definitely a dope pull. Ver, what's your last joint?
I'm gonna go self-titled, Organized Confusion. Obviously, Fudge Pudge, man. Come on, yeah. Walking to the Sun, releasing hypnotical gases, the audience pleases, Prisoners of War, the Rough Side of Town, Roosevelt Franklin. You know, it's just, it was different because it's hard. I mean, like Organized Confusion, they weren't native tongued. They weren't native tongued out, and they weren't hardcore. It was like it was a different dynamic, man. But it was dope, and it was very lyrical. And I want to say they were on Hollywood Basics.
Yep,
and the
Hollywood Basics.
Reason why that sticks with me is because we was trying to get a deal, and I think we sent some to him and got some dialogue back or something. But it's just, and that's why I like what he said, because I'm down with Mickey Mouse, and I understood what that meant with Hollywood Basics. But yeah, obviously, you know, you got Pharaoh Munch, Ridiculous, friend of the show, Prince Poe, you know. So yeah, I'm with that Organized Confusion, self-titled.
Yeah, definitely.
OC as well.
OC, yeah.
That was our intro to OC with Fudge Pudge. Very dope, very dope. Grab, what you got up for your last album for top 5 of the year?
You know, I only did 2. I can't.
Oh, my bad. Give me your 2.
I'm gonna run through though. I'm gonna run through the next 3. I got a couple, but I'm gonna run through because y'all picked De La Soul Is Dead. Somebody picked Step in the Arena. I had that. I had Low End Theory.
Yeah.
I had Death Certificate.
Definitely.
And somebody had picked that up. Future Without a Past.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 honorable mentions, and I could be done with my top 5. Well, one is not an album; it's an EP, All Sold Out.
That's on my slept on list.
Yeah. Definitely.
That joint came out on June 21st, 1991. My brother's 21st birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, so it dropped on that day. I remember trying to go. We was in Mount Vernon. We was trying to walk to the party. It was in like New Row or something. We was trying to walk there, something like that. And it was I. It was like myself, Jolo, Robbo, and I Love. We was trying to walk, and we end up getting pulled up by the police in Pelham. It's the town over from Mount Vernon. It's like a quiet little area. So if you some 4 black dudes walking through there at night, yeah, you get pulled. We got pulled up. We was burning and all of that. Had to drop our spliff in the grass. Got spent like 20 minutes after the police left trying to find it. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. But yeah, that was one of my joints, All Sold Out, the EP. I know it's not an album.
No. That
fits. It doesn't matter. It can be part of the albums.
Yo, it could have been a single. If Pete did, Porsche is gonna let that shit like sure. that can cut anything. It don't even matter.
It could have been a TV jingle.
Right. And I'm gonna be like all sold out. Like we're gonna be armed for that. So it's all good crap.
Okay, bet. That's what's up. So that's it.
All right, no doubt. Porsche. Oh, my bad. You got one more grab?
No, that was it for me. Yeah, that was it for me for the top 5.
All right, no doubt. Porsche, what's your stuff?
I said Leaders of the New School, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, I should say Brand New being All for One. Didn't that come out in 91?
I think that pushed to 92.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, maybe 90.
90, I think it was.
Yeah, my bad. It was 90. Yeah,
because we talked about it on the 90s show.
90 show,
yeah. Right. You're right.
Porsche, what's your stuff doing joints?
All of them?
Not all 98 of them, but
no. I only have 3 slept on.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, yeah, all of them. Because
I've named all my other favorites, and I don't think they're pretty slept on. But this one I have to put on slept on, and I have a little explanation as to why. I have Breaking Atoms as the most slept on album in 91, and the reason for that is that all of the accolades that Illmatic gets and Nas gets, and all of this stuff, Breaking Atoms is barely ever mentioned as a stepping stone for Nas, like introducing us to fans to him, you know? I would think the importance that Breaking Atoms has in the history of just that, like debuting one of the greatest MCs of all time, that it would be mentioned way more than it does, and it doesn't. Even Live at the Barbecue doesn't get mentioned as much. Like if you ask, if people are talking about their dopest posse cuts, very few will say Live at the Barbecue. You know what I mean? And for a track that Nas, Kill, you quote that verse all the time. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't. And for kind of the weight that Breaking Adam holds in hip hop, I would want it, and I would imagine that it would be mentioned left, center, and right all the time, like Liquid Swords and Only Built for Cuban Links, but it's not. So for me, Breaking Atoms is the most slept on joint of 91, and I double down on that. So if anyone wants to argue, come at me.
I'm not mad at that, because you're absolutely right. Breaking Atoms can be. Here's the thing, and I know I'll be in a minority on this. If you ask me, kill you on a deserted island, low end of Breaking Atoms, I'm taking Breaking Atoms, and I'm okay. I'm okay with being on the minority on that. I'm okay with that. Like, I already know everybody's gonna say low end, so I'm not mad at you saying that, because you're right. I feel like Breaking Atoms should be held in the same discussion as Low End Theory, and it's not. I'm not saying I'm not saying people have to say it's better than Low End, but it's not even mentioned in it.
The ill connection on those two albums is that
Pete,
he co-produced both on both.
And that's you get Pete and Large Pro. Like, this album is it is a gem of all gems in hip hop, and it just does not get the recognition that it
has. Respect, it should.
It's kind of
I'm not mad at that.
For what it was.
Just another game of baseball. Like, oh my God, the metaphors that song conjures, that he created for that song, and the beat. Perfect.
Adams is my slept on joint, the most slept on joint of 91 for me. Do you want me to name my other two? Or
yeah, run down.
Okay, and then I've got MC Light's Act Like You Know. I love MC Light's run of albums, especially her first three. And again, she kind of tackles drugs, alcohol, teen pregnancy, like sort of things that were sort of happening.
Georgie's on there.
Sorry?
Poor Georgie's on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Poor Georgie. Again, Eyes on This. When in Love. Like, yeah, it's a dope joint. MC Light is a top tier MC. This was a year dominated by men, and she definitely held her own. She always does. So Act Like You Know is a slept on joint for me. And then I've got Queen Latifah's Nature of a Sister. I love that album. I feel like she kind of softened up a little bit on it, and yeah, delivered. Queen Latifah also is one of my favorites. She's stellar. She holds her own as well, and she's so graceful, and I love that. So those are my three slept on joints for 91.
Dope, Porsche. I want to touch on something that Grab said about Pete being on Low End Theory, because he's not credited for the jazz. But as the story goes, the jazz beat was playing. Tip came through the basement, heard it, saw what the album was, went back and recreated it. Because if you listen at the end of the jazz, he says Pete rocked before the beat. You know what I mean? But Pete isn't credited for that beat. So just for people watching, because somebody was probably like, whoa, what do Pete got to do with Low End Theory? Or people may be watching like, what did Pete have to do with Live at the Bar? At Breaking Apps, but he co-produced Vamos a la Pier. Vamos, I don't even know how you pronounce it. Yeah. So that, I just wanted to connect the dots. So that's how Pete was involved in both those albums. Slept on for me, I got this joint that nobody talks about. It's actually called a flop. I fucking love this album.
Oh nah.
A lot of people call this a flop. Yo,
it's the boy was my joint.
I like that.
When you put this on it,
yeah,
I shouldn't have done it. Mistakes of Women in Love with Other Men. Venus is a boy. Bro, I get it. It's not better than the Great Adventure.
Hey, that Large Pro remix for It's a Boy.
Bro, we gonna get into that. Trust me, bro. We gonna talk about the remixes off this joint, but nobody talks about this album. It's like Slick Rick just had one album, and that was it. I was not mad at this album at all. Second joint I got up is My man out of Boston, N.W.A, Life in the Kennel Together. You know what I mean? You send this off with I'm different. Speed it up, feel like a nut. I got to have it. When I got to have it, drop that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's
he strapped the game up with
yeah.
So that's 3 beats. Dope. That's intro. Let me be the one. I got to have it, and then hey. Yeah.
Yeah. You got I mean, and then if you don't know nothing for this, be a father to your child, which again in 1991 songs like that were not being made, talking about being a father to your child. So very dope album here. Rap said it, the all sold out EP. Love this joint right here. Mecca and the Soul Brother, man, I love that, man. I mean, the creator, just everything about this EP, I felt like it was a perfect bring in, for what was coming with P. And everybody already named this joint Leaders. This was so slept on to me, just because nobody really talks about it. You know what I mean? Nobody really talks about Leaders of the New School. I know their second album, Time, wasn't what everybody wanted it to be, but this right here, we all named them Sound of the Z, because the one joint that nobody named, Sob Story, which was my shit. That was my shit. Like, come on. Then I got my Cherry Pathfinder. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to my homegirl, the Golden Child, who used to hold Strictly Hip Hop with me, 889. She's in the video for Sob Story. So shout out to my homegirl, Chris. She was in the video, but very, very slept on album. Come on, y'all.
Thank you.
What's up?
Let me tell you another reason why people don't hear about that. Think about the album titles that we've named. These are like all time hip hop classics. Mm-hmm. So the competition that was out then, I mean, the albums that are slept on would annihilate some other years, but that year was just ridiculous, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, the crazy thing, and me and Gnu was talking earlier, and we were talking about how, again, like I touched on in the beginning of the show, we sometimes just concentrate so much on 88, 94, 96 that we forget about like these other years. I won't hold you. When I first was like, all right, boom, it's time to do 91, not knowing off the top of my head, I'm like, damn, I mean, I wonder if some good shit dropped this year. And then you start doing the research and it's like, yo, this was a crazy ass year. You know what I mean? So, but we just put so much emphasis on those 94s with Wu and Tribe and Boom Bap, and 96 with the Fugees and Ghost and Jay and Nas, and 88 with Ultra and PE and EPMD, that we forget there was some incredible hip hop dropping in these other years. Gnu, you got any slept on joints, bro?
One that we didn't name, Nice and Smooth, Ain't a Damn Thing Changed.
Damn thing changed.
Yeah,
Hip Hop Junkies. Yep.
Sometime around slow.
Sometimes I rhyme slow, sometimes I rhyme quick.
Yeah. Pump It Up. That was my shit. I always fuck with Nice and Smooth, man. So Greg Nice was always he wasn't the nicest MC, man, but he was just like, he just had that energy, that energy to the table. And Smooth B was always smooth, you know what I mean? He was like a hip hop doo-wop kind of cat, you know what I mean? So I always rock with Nice and Smooth, man.
What I miss about times like that is when that was cool to be Greg Nice. You didn't have to be this super lyrical samurai lyricist. You know what I mean? It was like, cool for him to just be Greg Nice with the echo. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, who gonna, like, nowadays I feel like if DeWitt came out, it was like, who these whack niggas rhyming? Like, whack niggas, like, Smooth, like, come on, y'all. Like, Greg Nice set off DeWitt, like, Lovely too. Set that shit off.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Another dope posse cut out there was Down the Line. They used the Gangstar beat, the piano.
Yep. Nice and smooth, man. Dope, very dope MCs. I don't know if y'all ever seen it. LL does a joint where he plays the sample, and it's him and Greg Nice. Yeah, so that's dope too. Yeah, Rel, what's some of your slept on joints, bro?
I think y'all named them all. The Nice and Smooth John. Like, sometimes I rhyme slow. That was like one of my favorite songs that year, man. Like, I really messed with that John. I'm somebody else that thought the Slick Rick album was cool. Like I don't know, like why niggas was saying that joint was whack or was a flop. Like I mean, his first album was a certified 5 mic classic. Like if anything after that, not a 5 mic classic, it's a flop. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know.
Right.
The joint was dope to me. You know what I mean?
The song Venus.
Oh yeah, Venus was crazy.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's a Boy is classic. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't know why people was like that.
And then the other thing about that Rick album is I don't know if he. Well, I think he had to record that album very fast because he was about to get locked up. You know what I mean? So
it's kind of rushed.
But it's still a dope album. Like, I mean, even if he wasn't getting locked, I'm not mad. Yo, when to this day, when fucking That I Shouldn't Have Done It came on, that shit still bangs. You know what I mean? It still bangs. You had one more round? You was about to say something? Another one?
Yeah, the Light John. MC Light John. I mess with that John. I mess with her in general, you know what I'm saying? And then, Poor Georgie was storytelling at its finest. Like you can envision that shit even without the video. Like you can envision, you know what I'm saying, what's going on. And in a male dominated, you know what I'm saying, genre. So she's, you know what I'm saying, I remember we did the John was
hold on, you breaking up, fam.
On versus a singer. You hear me?
You breaking up, fam.
You get Mr. Roboto.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all hear me now?
You good.
Oh, yeah, I like she had presence and she stood out in a male-dominated genre. That's, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to go with the Light John. You know what I mean?
All right. Vern, what about you? And he slept on
that.
Yeah, I'm going to name two that have been mentioned, but I just want to bring back UNC's, man, the Fruits of Nature album, bro. That album is it's a personal classic for me. It has at least 6-7 joints that I listen to all the time. Martin Lawrence had it on his wall.
I was trying to think of what show that was that had that album.
It was on Martin. Yeah. Nice and Smooth. But this one right here, I don't care what nobody say. I tell you what, they were ahead of their time because if they came out today, they would eat. That's PM Dawn's Of the Heart, of the Soul, and of the Cross. Bruh, that album was like nothing I had ever heard in my life. I know that was the era of the Super Thug, Keep It Real hip-hop fans. But I got the courage to say I bought that tape and I played that tape. And then I went back like about a month ago and just started listening to their catalog. Man, Prince B has some stuff, brother. Paper Dog, Comatose, Watcher's Point of View, If I Was You, On a Clear Day. That singing before anybody was singing and doing the harmonies and just the experimental things that they sample with and stuff like that. PM Dawn was doing it. And to add credence to it, Grappa tell you, Prince B and Pete used to be in different places digging.
He was a digger, yeah. He was
yeah. So he used to buy up the wall, man. He would just buy the wall and buy all the hottest joints. Like he would buy the hottest joints and piss a lot of other producers off, because he was just coming.
Was he a rapper? Because I never looked at PM Dawn as a rapper.
He was a hip hop artist. I'll just put it that way. I mean, I guess
he was more like a singer and a poet.
Did he rap?
He has some raps on the album, but I mean, I didn't. I put it to you like this: it was a hip hop album. So however you want to. All right, so you were
alternative hip hop.
You were classified as hip hop.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think I missed the PM Dawn train because I looked at like it was alternative. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and again, I never listened to it. So I just know from that first single, I just didn't walk away feeling hip hop from it. But that's why I'm asking because I never heard it. So it could have been something different.
And I think, to your point, I think we like boxed in hip hop. You know what I mean? That it had to be this one thing because now again, the stuff he did now, this is what you're hearing. I mean, the stuff he did then is a lot of the things that you're hearing now, and so it ain't R&B. You know, it
But
ain't.
I mean, I think. But here's the thing: I don't know if we boxed in hip hop. That's what everything we name it from this year was. Like he was the only person doing that. So it's really not we boxed him in. It was. This was all hip hop, and here's the great part: he dared to be different.
He dared to be different, right? That's
the hard part about it is when you dare to be different. Sometimes you don't get hurt because nobody else is doing that right now. And like you said, this is 91, so what's that? 91, 2001, 2000. It took 30 years. The niggas even catch up to it. So I mean, I definitely give him his props for being the spearheader to do it. But I don't think we put hip hop in a box. Everything we're naming was. All we knew that hip hop was. So it's kind of like if you throw something different at us, it's like, oh, I don't know about that because all we eat is cheeseburgers here. We don't know nothing about no grilled chicken sandwich. You know, so you know, I'm not putting food in a box. It's just niggas just
I get it.
Hamburgers for it.
Your point is true, and like I said, he had the guts to be different. And then the other problem that Prince B falls into is that stigmatism. Well, KRS-One. I'm like, all right, KRS-One. That's the person you want to step to, Prince.
But I never understood why he threw him off the stage. Was there
because he wasn't hip hop?
No.
Okay, no. Prince B, he did throw a shot. He threw a shot. He threw a shot at KRS-One. Yeah, he did.
KRS was a teacher, but a teacher of what?
Yeah. Okay. Well, then you get your ass whooped for that. So I mean, you throw a shot. You again.
But Kill. All right. So again, how many other MCs during that period threw shots at other MCs, and they went back at them lyrically? But you know,
to be honest, I'll say this: I'm horrible at subliminals, so I don't know. But I understand what you're saying. I see what you're saying. At that time, you're right.
Yeah,
it wasn't violence in hip hop, because if it should have been violence, it should have been between Shan and KRS, and it wasn't. So I see your point of. At that time, we were keeping things on wax. So why did it have to get physical with him and not?
I think because he felt like homie wasn't of the hip hop cloth like how Shan was. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I think that's why he was like, you know what? Nah, this dude who he feels is really not hip hop. How dare you say this about me? I am hip hop. You know how he felt about himself. And being hip hop and all of that. So yeah, I think that's where that came from.
Yeah,
it's funny because the whole time, well, not the whole, but a couple of days was on the timeline was, you know, niggas like, yo, Kill, man, why Gilly dissing Ross like that? Like, yo, somebody hit me like, yo, why your man jealous of Ross? And I'm like, where you see jealousy at, my nigga? I'm like, yo, Ross made a comment about something that Gilly said, and Gilly responded like, I know this CO nigga ain't talking. Like, I know, nigga, you a fucking lie. I know you not talking shit. You know, and I'm like, yo, there ain't no jealousy, there's no nothing. If I know a nut ass nigga in real life is talking shit about me on the timeline, I'm gonna blaze your fucking ass, nigga, because I know you in real life. Like, nigga, how dare you comment on my shit? So I see Grab's point too, like, nigga, you ain't even hip hop talking shit. You know what I mean? So you were outside, but then I also see Vern's point that it is PM fucking Dawn. Well, here's the wild part: PM Dawn is a big nigga. Like, PM Dawn is not like.
Man, listen, KRS-One. I mean, Chris, legendary MC, but he stepped to somebody he know he.
And again, like I said, to your point, I'm not disagreeing with you. To your point, you did pick the flower child to throw off the stage. You didn't throw Melly Mel off the stage. You know, so I get it. Like I said, to everybody's point. Who?
No, they just run DMC. Ultra Mag, right? They just
Ultra Mag, but that was a sneak diss that I didn't catch for years. I never knew that until Penny told me about that recently. That's why I said I'm horrible with sneak diss. If you ain't saying fucking niggas names, I don't know who you talking about. He said, what did he say with the Peter Piper rhyme?
Yeah, Peter Piper something time to rhyme, something.
On Eagle Tripping. Eagle Tripping. He said something like with your Peter Piper rhymes. And again, I'm from that era where nigga say my name. Nigga, if you're like what Jay say, if you don't say my name, then I don't respond to something like that. Like that's why I say I'm horrible with sneak disses and everything like that. Grab, you got any slept on joints?
Yes. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you good. You're frozen on the joint, but we can hear you.
Okay. I'm looking up something for you guys. But my slept on albums is I'm gonna go through them. You guys said Fruits of Nature, UMC. You guys said Organized Confusion. That's my slept on. KMD, Mr. Hood. That's another one of my slept on. But I have two that weren't mentioned. I Need a Haircut by Biz Markie.
Okay.
And The One by Chubb Rock. Do yourself a favor and listen to the song Regiments of Steel. Regiments of Steel, yo. Oh my God. That song, here we go. Oh, he go tripping. I'm looking up the lyrics for
Yeah, people sleep on Chubb, man. Chubb is a very dope.
Two of us treat him right.
Yeah. Even the Dodgers too was crazy. Like Chubb is a very dope MC, man. All right, here's a question. MC of the year. Porsche, who is your MC of the year for 1991?
Come back to me. I have to think about it. Come back to me.
Okay. I'm going with Ice Cube. Ice Cube is my MC of the year with Death Certificate. I mean, you talk about what I said earlier, when somebody comes off their debut album, it's like, all right, that was crazy, but what you coming back with this go round? And I just felt like Cube brought it, so definitely for me, Cube was definitely MC of the year for me for 1991. And my producer of the year for that year, this is one of the years that a lot of people didn't produce on different albums. I know for 88 and 89, if my memory serves me correct, I think Marley was the producer of the year because he had all those Juice Crew albums and multiple albums. This year, when we're looking at all these albums, everybody kind of had their own producer. De La is Paul. Breaking Adams is Extra P. Low End is Tip. Niggas for Life is Dre. Steppin' Arena is Primo. The Ruler's Bag. A couple of people here and there. LONS, Bomb Squad. Cypress Hill is Muggs. So there's really not a lot of overlapping. So to me, the biggest album of this year, to me, was Low End Theory. So I'm gonna go with producer of the year, going to Q-Tip for cooking up the Low End Theory. So that's kind of how I looked at the MC of the year and the producer of the year. You good, Porsche, or you want me to wait for you?
No, I can go. I totally, because I didn't say Death Certificate on my top 5 because you guys already mentioned it, I slipped my mind. But yeah, Ice Cube for me too. He's Death Certificate. Largely, well, not largely, I'll say some people, and a lot more than you would think, consider Death Certificate better than America's Most Wanted. So, that it's not far-fetched to say that Cube was like really in his bag, and obviously No Vaseline like each one. And my producer of the year is going to Large Pro for Breaking Adams. Again, that is a really significant album in hip hop. And it is what I consider the most slept on joint of the year. And for me, yeah, Large Pro takes it.
You know what, Porsche? I am going to renege on mine. I'm going with Large Pro.
Yay! I love when this happens. It's rare.
No. Y'all know me. I got no problem admitting when I'm wrong. And listen, you're right.
If I could put Pete Rock, I have to say this. If I thought Pete Rock that year, I would want to put him somewhere. So let's just forget.
I got you, Porsche. I got you.
He's in the realm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change mine to Large Pro because, like I said, when I was saying when I started really studying producers and keying in on what they were doing, the first album I went to was Main Source. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna take that back and go with Large Pro for producer of the year for 1991. Gnu, what you got? MC and producer of the year.
Man, I'll say this, man. 1991 for me. Back then, it wasn't really like a MC per se that really stood out to me because that was a time of like groups. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like, I really couldn't choose like my favorite MC. My favorite group back then was De La Soul. Like De La Soul, that shit was like everything to me, man. And anything native tongue related, man. Tribe Called Quest. So of course Q-Tip was nice, but I never like separated Q-Tip as like
the solo
MC, like a soloist, because everybody was in groups back then. Like the soloist shit like came later. So like in '91, I don't know. It was like it was the groups for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I really couldn't pick out a MC from that time that I would say was like the nicest. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Who would you say for producer of the year?
Producer of the year, well, because I fuck with native tongue, you know what I'm saying? I would have to go with I would go with Q-Tip. I'll go with Q.
All right, not mad at that at all. Not mad at that at all. Rel, I already know who your MC of the year is, so we could just skip right on over that. Who's your producer of the year that year?
Ice Cube.
We know it's Ice Cube.
Yeah.
I can tell you, it's either if we talking prior to '94, it's either Ice Cube or LL.
Oh, LL. There we go. And
then after '94 is Nas. So we already know where you going for the most part.
You know me. You know me well. You know me well. Producer of the year, I'm going Extra P. With a honorable mention, shout out to Prince Paul, because that was his production on that was immaculate. So I'm gonna give him a shout out, but I'm gonna go with Extra P.
No doubt. Vern, MC of the year, producer of the year.
I'm kind of like Gnu as far as MC go, but if I gotta pick one, I'm gonna say Dress, because he showed me something, on that album. He came out throwing darts.
Yeah, and very original too. Like there was nothing I'd ever heard anybody rhyming like Boy before. So
man, have y'all ever heard that Jingle Jangle song?
Yeah, the Legion.
The Legion.
The Legion. I remember before the Legion, I used to want my beard like his. And my beard back there. I remember the Legion, man.
Malik beat this then.
Oh, word? Oh, it was Jingle. Okay, I know what you're saying.
Jangle, them niggas don't want to tangle.
See, here's the thing, Grab. Here's the thing, Grab. And this is where I'm with subliminals. Was that really a shot at them, though? Like, I'm seriously asking.
I'm a subliminal expert, bro. Trust when I tell you.
Because I always heard that, but I never.
I don't mean to like jump off the cliff and go into some other shit, but Malik B said some shit about I on
What
Chrome.
he said about y'all?
He said, I annihilate your crew if you violate.
But he said, I annihilate.
No, he said it. That's how you said it.
He tried to be
That's lyrical slickness. Come on, y'all hear it. That's the lyrical.
Y'all know me. Like I said, I am the worst at subliminals. So
Cruise was about us, man.
Yeah.
Yo, y'all got to cut the camera. I can tell you how many.
Well, hold it, because I want to hear. I want to hear Charlie Murphy. But
about us, man.
But Drez on that Jingle Jangle, like he came into their house on a white carpet with muddy boots and just wiped it all on the rug, man.
Horse manure on it. Donkey shit.
So I'm gonna go Drez, and then I'm gonna go Prince Paul, because De La Soul is Dead. I ain't never heard production like that.
Together like that.
Yeah. Prince Paul is a puzzle piece put together as an MC.
Puzzle maker, man. He's a puzzle maker. Puzzle maker.
Yeah. All right, and Grab, what about you? MC and producer of the year?
I didn't pick an MC. I forgot to kind of pick an MC, and then I got a 3-way thing with the producers. Because I'm listening to you brothers, and it's like adding on. So I'm gonna go with, for my MC, I would definitely say Cube had a good year that year. It definitely came through with that death certificate. De La came through crazy with the complex lyricism. Chubb Rock, you know what I mean? His lyricism was on point for that Slept On album, the one. But then with producers, I have to go with three guys, because 2 of them, it was their coming out party, and one, like Burns said, the work he put in on that De La Soul Is Dead album was amazing. So Prince Paul's one, and the other 2 are Pete and Large Pro, because that year was their coming out party. That was the year they came out, and for the way they came out very strong for being first. This is their intro to the
first offer.
Yeah, their first.
It's like your first time making mac and cheese for Thanksgiving dinner, and it was a hit.
Right.
Nigga, Kill, we gonna trust you to make mac and cheese this year for Grandma. Okay, so shit better be good.
It will take the grandma's recipe, which been rocking for like 30 years straight.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that type of present, but they're coming out party. So I give those 2 guys props, and I definitely give Paul props for putting together that amazing album. And I mean, it's so hard to just pick one, you know what I mean? I got to give Tip and those guys props too, because I absolutely love Low End Theory, and the idea of him having Ron Carter on his album, on a hip hop album, was like so rocketing out of here. He was so far ahead of the game. So big salute to those guys. Yeah, those are my producers.
Ron Carter is on the bass.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's talk about what the feel of 91 was. One of the things that I realized in this year was, to me, it was like the passing of the torch. Like I kind of said, from 88 and 89, it was very heavily Marley, very heavily Juice Crew. 91, safe to kind of say the Juice Crew was kind of on their last leg. You know, Kane had Prince of Darkness, so that was a nod. You know, Marley had In Control Volume 2. That was a nod. You know what I mean? Like, you know, yeah, I mean, Biz I Need a Haircut was cool, but it wasn't going
I
off.
heard that shit.
You know, it wasn't going off. Craig G, now that's more like it. I actually like that album a lot.
Yeah. Take the big.
It wasn't, when he dropped the Kingpin, we were still in that hip hop house stage. And we didn't get what, well, I know, I can't speak for nobody but me. I didn't get what I wanted from Craig G from hearing him on Marley's In Control Volume 1, you know, with Dropping Science and Duck Alert. I did not want no hip hop house album from this boy. So I'm not mad at that's more like it, but to me, it was kind of like the Juice Crew kind of falling back, and we were ushering in, like everybody has said during the show, that whole native tongue feel. You know, whether it was KMD, you know, they weren't native tongue, but it had that feel. UMCs weren't native tongue, but had that feel. Leaders, not native tongue, but had that feel. But then we also had De La, Tribe, and Black Sheep, who were native tongue. So I felt like we were kind of ushering away from the PE, because they had the Apocalypse album with Can't Trust It, and by the time I get to Arizona and everything like that, but we were kind of coming out of that super pro-black fight the power era, and it kind of was moving into the native tongue type era. So that's something that I saw. Another thing that I saw this year was remixes really started to pop. You know what I mean? Now, this may be a tag on to 92, because I can't remember, like the Scenario remix, that was their third or fourth single off Low End. So we may actually be in 92 by now for the Scenario remix to drop. You know, same thing, another album nobody talked about. I'm not a really big fan of the album, but I love this fucking remix. Third Base's second album, Derelict of Dialect. And it was a remix. Molly Mall did a remix for Product of the Environment that is fucking bananas. And I'm not even a big Third Base fan, but that will always make my best remix, dopest remix mixtape. I love that Product of the Environment. We had the Similac Child remix, which was crazy with the live bass. If y'all remember the videos, like black and white with Milk and Milk and stuff. You had Pieces Not the Word to Play. That remix was crazy. You know, we touched on the It's a Boy remix that Large Pro did. So we were really starting to now get into, and again, forgive me, it may be pushing into 92 a little, so we may talk about this again next month. But we were now starting to get the remixes, because we didn't have remixes like that before. You know, we didn't get a remix for Ain't No Half Stepping, or a remix for Pickin' Boogers, or a remix for, you know, Ain't No Half Stepping, or we didn't get a remix for I Ain't No Joke or Eric B's President. We weren't doing remixes yet. We were just getting what those singles were. And then, so those are two of the things that I kind of felt kind of were moving the needle in 91. Do y'all agree with that? Do y'all have other things that y'all felt kind of was pushing the needle, or where hip hop was going in 1991?
I think you nailed it. I think you mentioned the points there.
There was something you had said that I was thinking about.
And again, we had amazing posse cuts too, because we had Scenario, we had Live at the Barbecue, you know, we had Don't Curse, so we also were getting some amazing posse cuts. I don't know if there were a lot of posse cuts prior to the symphony.
I feel like that was the last year of like conscious music, so to speak, conscious, quote unquote, conscious music, or, you know, good man's rap, what have you. Because then that following year, the Chronic dropped and changed a lot, man.
Yeah.
The more gangster rap started coming about, you know what I mean, towards the end of that year. So I wouldn't say it had shifted to the more native tongue era. It more shifted to a gangster, because that conscious stuff native tongue is a part of that. You think about.
I was just saying from the standpoint of
91 was like the height of it.
Yeah, 91 was the height, and like we were moving from the PE because I still see them as being conscious. I just don't see them as being Public Enemy and like BDP that were very much fight the power, black medallions, power to the people. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I felt like the native tonguish they weren't there, but then like you said, 92, now we're kind of, not that the native tongue fell off, because again, we still got Midnight to come to. We still got Balloon Theory. They were still there, but I think it's like Anu said, this may have been like their peak. Maybe for native tongue, because we're naming a lot of great albums here. We're naming Leaders only had a great one shot. KMD only had one shot. Black Sheep only had one shot. That Non-Fiction album, niggas wasn't feeling that. You know what I mean? So this was kind of like Anu said, the peak of that native tongue thing, because the only ones who really went on to keep doing it out of everybody we named was just Tribe and Daylight. UMCs didn't really get another shot.
Jungle Brothers wasn't really like popping like that.
Jungle Brothers wasn't popping no more. Latifah really was.
When did Done by the Forces of Nature come out? When did that come out?
That was 89.
89.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think 100% right. Like this was the eclipse of that, because again, we just named about 7 groups that all had that native tongue feel.
Yeah, that following year was like swimming upstream, man, with all the gangster rap that was coming down. You know what I mean?
Which is crazy, and another reason why I wanted to do these shows, because imagine how that must feel, that you're in your native tongue bag, you had this amazing debut album, everybody loves you, and you go back to your native tongue bag, and it's like, nah, nigga, we ain't listening to that shit no more. Like literally, like you done made the whole Thanksgiving dinner. You get there, and they like, nah, nigga, we vegan. You be like, God damn.
What year did Boys in the Hood come out?
91 maybe?
Maybe
let me look it up. Maybe 91. Maybe 91.
It wasn't 92. It already.
I think it was
92, 93, man.
Yeah, that's when it really, everything like that got popular. I mean, shit, Pete and CL did Death to Comedy.
Yeah. That was on that Menace to Society soundtrack.
They were cursing.
Yeah.
Yo, Kill, I'm about to step. Yo, I'm about to leave work and drive home. I don't know if y'all gonna be on by the time I get home. So I just want to say,
all right, no doubt, bro. No doubt. Good looking.
Oh, hold on. Let me plug something too. My single dropped this weekend. There's a little snippet online. There's a little snippet on Twitter.
And it's super dope. I love it.
Thank you. So I'm gonna drop the single this weekend. But all right, y'all. Peace.
Bye,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Boys in the Hood, 1991.
Okay.
Yeah, so July 2nd, 1991.
The promotion of that mindset was started already.
There it is.
It already started. So Chronic was like the icing on the cake, was like the cherry on top. And once that dropped, that was it. It was all, everything else was after that. So
and that's a great point too, Brad. That's a great point too. No, I was saying that's a great point, that how Boys in the Hood shifted that. You know what I mean? Because this is coming out in July. Yeah, it shifts it. You throw Menace onto that, which is the perfect entrance for the Chronic, because now it's all West Coast. I remember being in Philly. I don't know about Jersey, but everybody in Philly was talking West Coast slang after seeing Boys in the Hood. You know, everybody, trust me, every nigga in Philly was like, "Is there a problem? Is there a problem?" Like, niggas knew that movie, and then when Menace came out with Kane and like you said, that kind of just ushered in the door for West Coast hip hop to just come out. Yep.
Remember that joint, South Central?
OG Bobby Johnson. Hell yeah. South Central. OG Bobby Johnson. You know what I mean? So you hit him in the head with 3 classic West Coast movies like that, and it's the perfect door opener for Dre to drop the Chronic and change the whole entire game. One album we didn't talk about out of the Ultramagnetic tree is Tim Dog's Fuck Compton.
And it's still in the
that came Penicillin on Wax. They came out in 1991. You know, and that nigga was straight up and down. There ain't no cut cards. There wasn't no subliminals. It was fuck.
Nah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, yo, fuck that city that them guys with Jerry curls come. Nope. It was subliminals.
And he was naming names. He named everybody over there.
Well, you know what I mean? So again, just, you know, I love doing these shows because, like I said, you get, even me, people, us, we've lived through them. Just, it's still kind of like, be like, damn, yo, you right, Grap. That's exactly where it came in. What's up, Grap?
So I just have one album to mention that I found that I put it in the slept on list, but I didn't. I just found it. It's by an artist named J-Rock, J-R-O-C-K. The album is called Streetwise, Streetwise. And what I read about it is that there's production on there by Premier and Easy Mo B.
And what's the name of the album?
Streetwise. And his name is J-Rock.
Streetwise. You done said the name, okay.
Never seen this album anywhere or heard of it before.
I was today years old, brother.
I was that day years old when I saw it on the list that I looked at. I was like, what? I said, word? Oh, okay, I'm going to try to find this joint.
They on Ghetto Groove Records. I've never heard of Ghetto Groove Records.
Yeah.
Okay. And Mo B and Preem is on there? Okay.
Yeah, supposed to have done production on the album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's wild.
So I don't know if anybody else did anything on there, but it said Primo and Easy Mo B got production on there.
You said Mo B, man. Mo B need to get more love out here in these streets.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He don't get the credit he deserves, man.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if it was on this show or if I was on somebody else's show, but we was talking about Mo B, and I think one of the big reasons Mo B didn't get the credit he deserved is because at this time, most of the producers who we gave credit to were in groups. You know what I'm saying? So it was Tip, it was Gangstar, BCL Smooth.
Back in the day?
I mean, back in the day, but when Mo B became Mo B, because here's the thing, how did we put pictures to the producers that we saw? Because they were part of a group, so they were getting into on Rap City and MTV. So when Pete and CL were dropping the album, they was on Rap City, BET. They was in the basement, Big Tigger, Big Les, whoever, Fab Five, Dr. Dre, Ed Lover. We saw their faces. With Mo B, I don't even know.
More as a rapper at that time when he was.
Well, I mean, I know he was in the group. I forgot what was the name of his crew.
Rapping is fundamental.
Right, rapping is fundamental. You know what I mean? So he had that one joint, but by the time he was blown, really, when you think about stuff with Biggie and Craig Mack and Lost Boys and people like that, you know, Mo B really didn't have a face. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't put whereas with Premier, you knew what Premier looked like because he was in all the videos. You knew what Dilla looked like because he was in Slum Village. Like all the producers, if we name our top 10 producers from that era, they were 9 times out of 10 in the group. And if they weren't, then you was like Marley Marl, who was still in the videos. Like you still knew what Marley looked like. He was in Ain't No Half Steppin', he was in the Symphony, so you could still put that face with Mo B. It's almost like he was like the Headless Horseman. Like you ain't know what he looked like. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the reasons why Mo B doesn't get a lot of credit. And then two, people don't read the liner notes. So again, you just knew there was never no guess like, oh, Pete and CL got an album out. I wonder who produced it. Nigga, we know it. We know Gang Primo is doing a new Gangstar. We know Large Pro is doing a new Main Source. Where, you know, Easy Mo B was just getting those placements. So it's not even like Easy Mo B can't even be like, yo, I did the whole Lost Boys debut album. Listen to that shit. He could be like, I did the 2 singles. He can't say I did the whole Craig Mack album. He probably did the 2 biggest singles. So I think that's also something that kind of hurt him, is that he hasn't produced a whole body of work to be like, go listen to that. If I send somebody to go listen to Mo B, I'm sending your ass on an Easter egg hunt. You know what I mean? I got to send you the 5, 6, 7 different albums for you to really hear Mo B. I could be like, yo, you want to hear Premier? Go listen to that Group Home album. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just a one-shot deal. But Mo B deserves props because that nigga got some shit. Like, especially good news for me and you. He was our soundtrack to college. Like Lex Coops, Beamers in the Benz. Like, you know, like he had huge songs that would set shit off. But again, that's just a sad part.
Mo B did that.
What's that?
Lex Coops, Beamers in the Benz.
Yeah, he did Lex Coops, Beamers, Lifestyles. He did, you know, of course, all the Warning stuff. I mean, shit, Craig Mack flavor in your head, nigga. You gotta be somewhere with that just for doing that. Shit, you know what I mean?
That remix too.
Yeah.
Not to mention the stuff that he was doing for Kane back in the day. Like when Kane left Marley, Mo B was doing a lot of stuff because they lived in the same projects in Brooklyn. So, you know, that's how he really got down with Big. You know, it was
another victory, right? On what album was that, man? It's a Big Daddy thing.
It's a Big Daddy thing.
Yep, he did do another victory. Yep, which is crazy.
Did he do Mortal Kombat too?
Yeah, I think he did that one too.
I don't think. Hold on.
He did like 2 singles off of there.
Mortal Kombat was hard, yo.
Yeah,
he did.
Boom, 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 boom.
Nah, Mortal Kombat, Kane did that.
Yeah, that was dope.
Kane did Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, okay. Kane was a dope producer too, yo. He put together a lot of that stuff from the first album.
Years old,
he was bringing Molly that shit, like bringing it to him, and Molly was putting it together. That's what I heard.
That's a whole wonderful discussion on production. You know, is bringing the record enough to get you production credit. You know what I mean? Diamond believed if you brought me the record, I give you co-production credit. I'm not paying you, but you'll get co-production credit. You know what I mean? Somebody else is like, again, me and Vern was talking about, yo, if Porsche send me to the store to get all the ingredients for the meal that she about to make, do I get to say I'm the co-producer, I'm the co-cook? Nope. You know what I mean? I brought all the stuff to you. You know what I mean? I brought you the chicken, but you know, Porsche is the one in there chefing it up. Ain't nobody thanking the guy who went to the grocery store for Thanksgiving dinner. We thanking Big Mama and you know what I mean? So, you know, I don't know if bringing the record is enough because you still got to construct that. You know what I mean?
So what about if you bring the food and you tell her how to cook it, how you want it cooked? I don't know. That's what was going on.
You the chef.
That's what they say was going on with your boy and those guys.
Yeah. No, I told you after I read that Juice Crew book. After I read that Juice Crew book, I literally was like, I got to put a pause on Marley. I don't know where he is anymore. He was like top 3. I had to put a pause on him because I used to be like, okay, well, yo, what if Kane brought, you know, if ain't no half step and brought the
Blind Alley.
Yeah, the Blind Alley, what is the name of the Emotion? Emotion. I'm like, okay, but did he bring the drums? Did he bring the UFO sample? And Kane in the book is like, yes, I brought every fucking thing. And I was like, oh, didn't know that. Like, you know, I thought, because most times when people come to me with a beat, they be like, yo, Kill, they'll like send me a link, like, yo, see if you can fuck with this sample. But then I need to find the drums. I build the shit out from that. But and that's only happened very few times that I've done that in like 30 years of producing. Like, I would give you co-production. I would split the money with you because I do believe bringing the sample is half the battle of making a dope song is finding the sample. So to me, you know, if you give me the sample, then I'm gonna break bread with you because that's just my mentality. So that's a very good point. Porsche, can I get co-production credit in the kitchen if I tell you how I want you to cook the meal?
Yes, okay. You do 100%.
All right, cool. So that's a good point, Grat. That's a good point. And again, I always tell folks, it's how you were raised. You know what I mean? Because, you know, some people were raised that way. Other people,
good morals. Yeah.
Some people are just like, nah. You know, if you brought me the sample, you know, it just is what it is. Good looking. You know what I mean? You know, that's like it could just be good looking. You know what I mean? So, you know, so that's a good point too. But Dope Year 91 again. Everybody. Check out some of these albums we're naming. These are heavy hitting albums. You know what I mean? Like Vern said earlier, you have a great mixture. And to me, that's one of the things that is so great about hip hop, that you have niggas for life. You have Ice Cube, you have Cypress Hill, but then you also have Black Sheep, you also have Tribe, you also have Daylight. So you get a mixture of just everything right now in this year, which is an incredible year. Vern, let them know where they can get at you, good brother.
At Instagram on at V the Loan Closer and on Twitter at V Channel 10.
Where can they get at you for a mortgage? What states are you doing now? I know you all over. You worldwide.
Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina.
There you go. If y'all trying to move down south, that's where you lost if you're not getting with my man right there. You see the shirt, there you go, closing.
Closing real estate and mortgages. Cream, get the money.
There you go. I'm telling you, Vern play that Rucker Park. He be the closer. There you go. Grap, where can they get at you, good brother?
I'm on Twitter. Have named me Grap. That's it for now. We don't have any more BOMV shirts at humblemonarch.com, so don't hit them up and ask for them. Don't place no orders yet.
Those shirts are so dope. They have Grap's signature on the sleeve. I love it.
No doubt. So we're gonna get some more soon come. But yeah, have me grab at Twitter if you wanna say what's up or discuss something pertaining to music. Don't come with the funny shit, because you'll get dismissed and blocked or whatever they do on those things. So.
Yeah. It's funny to your point, Grap, how comfortable people get. Because I remember a couple of times dudes like, yo, you need to tell your brother blah blah blah. I'm like, bruh. Like Kane said in Minister Society, I don't think you know me. It's like, dude.
Right. Yeah, I've had people curse at me about my brother. I've had people DM me about my brother. Yo, what's up with that? I'm like, dude, I don't know you well enough to answer this. I just ignore the DMs and keep it moving. And then as far as the people cursing at me, I one dude, he got on there and cursed at me about my brother's choices about the vaccine and all this other stuff. I kindly straightened him out, you know what I mean? But yeah, other than that, have named me Grap, man, on Twitter. That's what.
You know, one thing I've learned, y'all, at 48, man, there's a gift and curse with everything. You know what I mean? And the gift is social media. I mean, here's the gift. I've met Porsche, Vern, I met the whole Apartment 5B crew through social media. So there's definitely a gift to it. The curse is, motherfuckers think they know you. And see, in Philly, we call them Joe Familiar niggas. Like that nigga who just met you. And they be like, man, shut the fuck up. It's like, nigga, you don't even fucking know me well enough to be telling me to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And again, it's like, I'm sorry, Porsche, to quote Drake or whoever wrote this for Drake, it's these Twitter fingers. You know what I mean? It's like, niggas get these Twitter fingers and, again, this didn't happen back in the day. You know what I mean? If I was shorty and I was blessed to be in the presence of my old heads, nigga, I ain't say shit. Nigga, I was just happy that y'all was letting me hang with y'all niggas. These niggas online, niggas think they could just rap with you and talk with you any kind of way. Like some dude that they hit funny story. So this dude was like, I was talking about how Drake to me is an entertainer because he don't write his rhymes. It was like, Big, Kendrick, all them dudes, Jay-Z, none of them write their own rhymes. Look at the credits. It'd be all these other names. And I'm like, nigga. And then he started like tweeting, he started like, screen sharing stuff. And I'm like, bro, number one, if Wikipedia is your source,
that's when you lost.
Just stop right there. Just stop right there. We can start right there. Then he went to ASCAP's site and he was like, check these out. For Big's Hypnotized, it said like Herb Albert's real name. It said the other composer's real name. And it said Derek D. Angeletti. And I'm like, bro, please, pretty please, don't tell me that you think that Herb Albert, Derek Angeletti, another jazz composer, is the one who helped Biggie write, I shoot 3 at your cherry M3, burn every MC easily. Like, no, nigga, these are the people who were sampling. I said, here's another one. Since you want to school me, let me school you. Then the hook is from Slick Rick and Doug's Lottie Dottie. So don't be surprised if you see Ricky Waters' name in there too. Rick didn't have, I'm like, bro, please just stop. And again, I am never a Twitter snob. I mean, I don't care how many people follow you, but Porsche sent me some shit and some nigga said some wild shit. And I was like, sis, he only got 36 followers. You need more people. Like, you need more people. Like, I'm not even going to try to believe this and only 36 people follow.
But that tweet went crazy viral.
But here's the thing. But you say dumb shit like that. Again, this is the laws of Twitter that people get twisted. They think saying dumb shit will get them more followers. Right. It will get you retweets. It won't get you more followers because you're saying dumb shit.
Right.
So it's really about what is your cause? Do you want to get more followers or do you want to get more retweets? If you want to get more retweets, say as much dumb shit as possible, because for some reason we love tweeting dumb shit, not the good shit. But you're not going to get more followers saying dumb shit. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like, crazy how the game goes. Gnu, let them know where they can get at you, brother. Tell them about the podcast, everything, man.
Yo, get at me at IG at Mr. Gary Gnu. Also, check me out on the Gary Gnu Show on YouTube, man. New Tech presents the Gary Gnu Show every Wednesday. Talk about hip hop and all type of things that flow off the top of the head, brothers. All right.
No doubt.
Appreciate you having me back on here, man.
Bro, it's an open seat for you. Again, I tell folks this is my brother. He used to come through my crib at Morgan and lay down rhymes and everything. You know what I mean? Again, and I always tell the story, N.W.A, how I was like, I ain't really feeling There's a Dark Side. He was like, nigga, do you smoke? I was like, nah. He was like, oh, well, shut the fuck up. Like, there you go. You know, this is smoking out. You know, I tell that story all the time. So again, brother, any Thursday you are free, there's always an open seat here for you, man. I love seeing you, love chopping it up with you, good brother. Porsche, where can they get at you, miss?
Just on Twitter at @SherShayLovePorsche.
All right. No.
Twitter Spaces Tuesdays at 6:15 p.m., 9:15 Eastern time. Yeah, it's always a good time. Every space is my favorite space. So, and it's always because we have like the dopest following, people support, and I appreciate them so much. So.
No doubt, no doubt. You already know this with me. Oh, what are you gonna say, Grab?
Oh, real quick, I just want to say I am looking for voiceover work. And if you need a beat, holler.
Yo, the craziest thing, Grab, and I think I told you this. Me and Amir was on the phone one night, and I don't know how your name came up, but we was like, yo, Grab got the fucking dopest voice, man. Like, Grab need to do voiceover work. So that's hilarious that you're saying that, because me and Amir was on the phone, and just, I don't know how we got the fuck on the topic of your voice. But it was like, yo, Grab would be crazy to do voiceover work, man. Yeah, you know what I mean? So
I would love to do that, man. I would love to do that. So those who are watching, if you need a voice, I have a voice.
There you go. There you go. You already know what it is with me, Kill889, Twitter, IG. Go to Griot, GRIOTVRN.bandcamp.com. Me and Vern. What up, Verns?
Not me.
What's that? Oh, yeah, not this Vern. Not Vern. Grab was like, oh, Vern, you rapping again? Me and what up, Vern? LA Vern, West Coast Vern. Got our new album, I Don't Mind, out. It's a banger. So definitely check that out. Cop that if y'all, definitely. And it's a money back guarantee. If you buy it and you don't like it, I will cash app you your money back. Because I don't want people to just buy shit because you know me or you fuck with me. I want you to just buy shit because it's dope. So if you buy it, you don't like it, DM me, text me, whatever. I will cash app you your money back immediately. So not too many folk giving a money back guarantee out here. So is that. I will check y'all next week, good peoples.